Hello, everyone. Welcome to the October edition of Fiddle Fridays with my special guest, Eric Wright.
Woo!
Yay! I just want to give a quick shout out to my aficionado level patrons, Darcy, Lindsay, Natalie, Maureen, Reese, and Ashley. Thank you so much for being supporters and all my other Patreon people. You're making this happen, and I couldn't do it without you. I have a bit of a cold, so if you hear it in my voice, that's just what it is. Let me intro Eric right here at the top. I'm not gonna play anything today. Got this cold, didn't have time. So Eric Wright, he is a very unique cellist.
Oh,
Yes. He was raised on pure Vermont air and inspired by his love for American old time and Irish music, and he sets out to incorporate cello into new and traditional music in ways that haven't been done before. He's basically the chop master. I like I get access to all these fretless sheet musics that have been transcribed, and I'm just there trying to like copy everything he's doing basically. He plays in the Fretless with my husband Ben. He has an electronic music band called Speaker Face, and he also plays with the fabulous Mairi Rankin, among others. He's a treasure. You're a national treasure.
National treasure.
An international treasure.
Let's say at least a North American treasure.
Yes, a North American continental treasure.
Continental, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to Alaska one day.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Eric.
My pleasure, of course.
I'm so excited to have you. I feel like so we've done this once before when in the Instagram version, and you just played some straight up tunes, but now because we're doing it on the computer, you have access to some pretty sick, I should say, looping abilities. Is that true?
And true. Let me tell you, it has been a seamless transition.
Yes.
I haven't running into no audio troubles ever.
Ever. No. Technology is easy.
It's easy, people.
Yeah. Everyone can do it.
Anyone could do it.
100%.
You could do it.
Okay. Do you want to jump into playing something for us?
Sure, I will. Yeah, so like Caitlin was saying, I actually ended up doing a Kickstarter for an Ableton looper that is actual hardware. And so because it's hardware, it's a lot more clicky and a lot more fun. And I've been experimenting, as we all probably have in these unprecedented times, by trying to accompany myself, because what I love doing is chopping and creating grooves for other people. So it's been kind of sad to just sit alone and make grooves for myself. So now I make the grooves and loop them and then try to play along to them. And this is an old time tune my dad taught me called Last Chance. And my dad, he sort of inspired my desire to make sort of the new kind of traditional music. So traditional music, but modern style, right? And so one of the things that he's always done is taken old time tunes that didn't necessarily have lyrics and then puts lyrics to them, makes them songs. And so this one is a post-apocalyptic old time song, if that makes sense. Cool. And it's the last chance. And so I think the chorus that he said is the last chance for me, my honey, last chance, it's true, last chance for me to dance with you. So it's the last time you're seeing your love before the world explodes. Now I'm going to switch over to cello.
Yeah. That's awesome, Eric.
Thank you.
One man band.
One man band.
You don't need the fretless.
Who needs them? I
Who
want
needs
Ben
them?
though.
Sorry, Trent and Carnell.
Yeah, you guys are old news.
That's awesome. So in all of your playing around with this, has any like, have you been thinking about, oh, I could maybe do some sort of solo album type thing like this?
I I definitely want to make something.
Mhm.
What I don't know if it's going to be um, loop based. I don't know. What do you think? Would you want to go to a concert entirely of cello looping?
Um, I mean, I would because I like that.
Because you like to loop on cellos.
Yeah. And I think that you're doing it in like, you know, you're not like building like it's, at least on that one you're not building like 10 layers and like we're waiting like 5 minutes for the song to actually start.
Until it actually starts. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think it's great. I don't know. I think it's like it's one, it's just a different thing than playing with a full band, I think.
Yeah,
A full band is great, but playing by yourself is is like a different thing. It's impressive in its own way because you're like making it all yourself, and it's also probably cost efficient.
definitely.
So,
Uh,
yeah.
and it is very rewarding when you get a song sounding groovy with some atmosphere and stuff, and
Mhm.
that you created that all yourself.
Yeah.
um, is very fun. Obviously, I love playing with other people, and that's one
Mhm.
of my favorite things to do. Uh, but this has been a very fun little endeavor, just to see what kind of grooves come out too, because you inspire yourself.
Yeah, and also in a time where we haven't been able to play with other people, it's great that you have found a productive way to do it by yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, when
Um,
when it's working.
yeah. Um, so let's get into the nitty gritty of.
Yeah.
I would like you to tell everyone about your cello journey and how you got to be Eric Wright as he is today.
Um, well, the long story short of starting cello was I have a vivid memory, and maybe I told you this already, but I have a vivid memory of walking down the hallway of my elementary school in first grade, and one of my friends, Cassidy Metcalf, was going into a cello lesson with a huge cello on her back, and she's a 6 year old girl. The cello is twice her size, and I thought that was really cool. Like, that's a big instrument. It looks fun. Cassidy seems cool. So I told my mom that's what I want to play. I was just like straight up said that's what I want to do. I want to do play that instrument. Uh, and I don't know. I instantly loved it. I it sort of made sense to me. I had never played another instrument before, um, and I started at Suzuki, doing the classical thing, and always everyone who knows me will tell you that in the back of my head, I always just had this burning desire to play Irish music. I just like, it's all I wanted to do. I wanted to play Irish music. My teacher would ask me, "What kind of tune do you want to play next?" I'd be like, "An Irish tune." I'd be like, "Sorry, we don't know any Irish tunes." Uh,
But how's Bach?
yeah, but Bach, I mean, you know, it's still a European composer.
Yeah.
It's close. Uh, So yeah, it was hard for me because I always had this love, and I would go and try to learn Celtic tunes by ear. But as you know, the struggle of being a trained classical instrumentalist is that I don't know. I was like, it was really hard for me to learn things by ear. I was just
Mhm.
trying to pick them off of a CD or something. I didn't have the sheet music down to tell me what to do. And so it was always on the back burner. I never was able to actually pursue the music that I was passionate about on the instrument that I was passionate about, until I went to Berklee College of Music. And I joined all of the old time and the Irish ensembles, and was finally able to learn from some masters how to express myself in the way that I'd always wanted to express myself. And I had great teachers like Eugene Friesen and John McGann and Natalie Haas at Berkeley, and just sort of opened my eyes and met people who were doing exactly what I wanted to do, and that was just so inspiring that I lost my mind. Which is also around the same time when I first heard the chop. And as we all know, once you hear the chop, you can't stop.
You can't stop.
You can't stop. And I first heard the chop, I think it was my first year at Berkeley, and I got a Crooked Still album, and it was like someone had shown me a new instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, that was the turning point. That was when I started, I would say at 22, that's when I started practicing seriously.
Amazing. I mean, I identify with so much of what you just said, even from like just like first grade, like seeing the cello and being like, that thing's big, I want to play it.
Yeah.
That was me in 5th grade. I was just like, take this violin away from me. It's too small. I don't like holding my arm up. And I was like, give me that big thing. And also, yeah, all the way down to like, I heard a Crooked Still album and I was like, what the hell?
Like, hey, nobody told me.
Nobody told me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just like, that's amazing. I love, I mean, I'm not gonna like, I have no regrets, no regrets.
No regrets.
But like, I can't imagine what it would have been like to go to college and like be able to like really immerse yourself in like old time and Irish ensembles and like that be your school. Like that just sounds like such a great experience.
Hogwarts. Yeah. And it's so funny because you say you have no regrets, and neither do I, because ultimately whatever path we've taken to get to the point where we are is why we sound the way we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows, maybe if we had been doing traditional music our whole lives, when you need to pull out the vibrato, you might not be very good at the vibrato or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you would sound like a completely different musician.
Yeah.
And it is nice also for us to see people like, Tristan Claridge or Rashad Eggleston, who are also very, very accomplished musicians in their own rights, just not even including the fiddle stuff, as far as just cello. And I used to hear Rashad in his class and him just playing scales. I would be like, oh my God, this guy is crazy, but I think we found it at the right time.
Oh, I think we're doing great.
Yeah.
We're killing it. Do you want to jump into another tune?
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how this one goes.
Okay.
It's called Breaking Up Christmas. You may have heard of it. It's a nice old time tune. Mm-hmm. I first heard it played by a fiddler named Tommy Jarrell, the old school fiddler. Okay, let me switch over.
Yeah, that was great. That seems cool. I think I've heard it before, but I didn't know that's what it was called.
A little rough around the edge.
No, that was awesome, Eric. Yeah, I just, is there a way to move your camera down like an inch? Because that whole time I was looking at your chop hand and I could only see the very top of it. And I think for the
You could
last,
only see the top of the chop.
yeah, like the top of your hand and not, yeah. So now we're cutting off your forehead, so I'm sorry about
That's
that.
fine though. The forehead isn't as integral to the cello playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so um what's going on now in your life? I know you're like making a ton of beats and stuff outside of cello world. You're just like the beat master on the cello and off.
What?
Um
Yeah. Whatever. Any beats that I can do, I'm trying to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um and congratulations, the Fretless just released a new album.
Thank
That's
you. Yeah.
awesome.
Open
Sounds great.
house. Yeah, we love it. I'm sure you've heard plenty of it.
Mhm.
Uh, we that was a really fun project too because before we started it, um, I made sure that all the guys knew that I only ever wanted to be chopping on the album. Uh, and it's kind of hard because sometimes people think that you might want to play melodies or some harmonies or something like that. But I am so deeply obsessed with chopping and rhythm that I was like, I would love it if I could just chop the entire time. Um,
That's amazing.
and they said okay. They're a really great band. They said okay.
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna be like that for every album, or you're gonna have to play some melodies on the next one?
You never know. They might make me play a melody at some point.
You play a great melody, man.
Thank you.
You gotta do it sometimes.
I know, but once you chop, you can't stop. I'll stop saying that.
Have you? I don't know if you've seen my new floor fiddle merchandise that I've made
I did see it.
with it's there's a sticker. It says less Chopin, more Chopin.
More chopping.
Yeah,
That's very good.
thanks. We got chop puns. We got chop sayings for days.
We got chop sayings for day. The
Yeah.
Fretless has chopsticks for merchandise.
Yes.
The
Very.
classic.
It's very classic. It's very good.
Yeah.
I think it's a great merch item.
Yeah.
Um, so for anyone who's watching who might be coming from like the classical world and it's like, whoa, I didn't know I could do this. Where do I even start to like try to do the things that Eric is doing? Like, what would you recommend? Like, what's step one in the journey to becoming Eric Wright?
Oh man. Well, I would say debilitating ADHD.
I have that.
Okay, you're on the right track.
Yes.
Self-deprecating sense of humor. Yeah, you got that.
Yes.
Well, I can't. I don't necessarily know what works for every person, right? You
Mhm.
don't. You don't. Everybody resonates differently, but what really worked for me was, and I'm sure you may have been the same way, was that first Crooked Still album I got. It was the first time in my life that I was listening on headphones to an entire album and learning every single note that Rashad Eggleston had played.
Hmm.
And it was funny because I didn't put it together at the time, but all of my teachers at Berkeley were having me transcribe solos, jazz solos. We were doing harmony. We were doing all this listening and writing things down and playing things back. I was in a Django Reinhardt ensemble and learning Stefan Grappelli solos. And in doing all of that, I realized that I could be doing that on my own time for the tunes that I really wanted to be learning.
Mhm.
And so I used the amazing slowdowner. Back in the day, that was the only option we had. And it had 3 speeds that you could do on it. And uh, I learned every single lick, and I learned how to do that chop, uh, and just transcribed every single piece of chopping music that was out there. So what I would say to anyone who wants to start chopping or play rhythmic cello is, if you have an album that you love, like a Natalie Haas and Alistair Fraser album, you should, pick 4 tracks off of it that have your favorite chops on it, and you should learn them front to back, completely memorized. Try to sound exactly like Natalie Haas, rip her off completely. Listen to the Fretless album, find whichever tune you like the most on ours, and just
Oh
rip
yeah,
it off completely.
love it.
Listen to Tristan Claridge and just completely rip him off. And in copying these people, it's a compliment. You're copying them, but once you become comfortable with their techniques, you start to absorb those powers, and then you're able to play it in the way that you want to play it. So you're not going to end up sounding like somebody else. You will always sound like yourself, who's been inspired by somebody. So, um, you know, I have this obsession with hardcore punk rock music and math rock, metal, and because of those things, my chops are influenced by that, and I can't help it. So, I admit I listen to a lot of Nirvana and Tool and Rage Against the Machine, and I think of those beats when I'm playing, and I want to play like that, and I want to have that emotion and that energy when I'm playing. So I I really think it's just exploring the things that inspire you. If you hear a tune that you want to play like, you just have to learn that tune.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to then transfer that to something else that you're really into, another tune or a different chopping pattern, or you'll hear a chord progression you hadn't thought of applying to your traditional music, and it starts expanding and snowballing in that way. Uh, that's my best advice. And go crazy. Lose your
Lose
mind.
your mind.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely lose your mind. It's hard to force yourself to lose your mind, because I do think that that's a bit of a chemical response to something. It's like it's ingrained in us to lose our minds over certain things.
Yeah.
So if you have the passion for something, you have the potential to lose your mind, but you have to give in. You have to
Yes.
you have to go all into it.
I love that. Yeah, I think that I've done that's essentially, I mean, that's when usually everyone's answer to that question is like listen and
Yeah,
like do and that, I mean, it is the answer, and that's how I did it.
yeah,
That's like I had one really like formative summer where I came back from like Mike's camp, and I was like, I'm not gonna like just stop doing this now like I usually do. Like I usually would just come home from camp and like jump right back into like getting ready for
totally.
classical music school. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna like figure out like what Natalie and Rashad are doing. And yeah, I like, for a little while there, I was like maybe sounding like I was just trying to be Rashad, or maybe I was just sounding like I was trying to be Natalie. But like all these years later, I think that all of those influences just kind of meld together, and whatever I have to offer, like, has also been injected into it, and we're all just melting pots of our influences. That's all we are.
That's seriously it.
Yeah.
And it sounds um, like we're trying to not be helpful. But it is honestly, if you just play the things that you love and try to get good at them, that is the pathway.
And it's so hard to, like, as a classical musician, hearing that is have you just hearing someone say to you, just go listen to it and learn it. Because,
Yeah,
like, for me, like, if you would have told me that when I was starting this, I would have just been like, I don't know how,
yeah,
because no one's taught me. But literally, all you have to do is just sit down with the music and with the audio of the music and just try to learn what's happening, and you can do it.
yeah. And I like to, and for anyone listening who is thinking, oh, maybe this is something that I want to try, but I don't know how to do it. Um, I recommend using your free music software that comes on your computer. If you have a Mac, then you have a version of GarageBand or Logic on your
Mhm.
computer. Um, Anyone else who has any recording stuff, Ableton Live is great. And on Windows, you can get Fruity Loops and all these things. And there's free apps everywhere that can slow your music down, change the key. So even when I run into, I'll hear a fiddle solo that I really want to learn, but it doesn't sit very well on the cello.
Mhm.
I'll drop it into Ableton and I'll drop it down an octave and then a fifth, and then it's
Nice.
just like playing it on the cello. It'll be the same fingerings that a fiddle player was using, and so you can sort of start learning their shapes and how they're playing. It's just in a different key. Um, so what I would do, especially for fiddle tunes, because they have such a similar looping ability, is that I would slow it way down and then I would loop just the first A, not even the repeat of the A, and just learn
Mhm.
the first A and just go slowly, playing it slowly until that feels good, and then learn the second A, which is going to be very similar, maybe with a different ending.
Yeah.
Uh, and in doing that, you'll also teach yourself how to learn by ear, and it will get quicker as you go
Mhm.
along. So it's sort of killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah, my first trying to learn something by ear was at Mark O'Connor Camp 2008.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was Mike teaching us Angela and the Baker, and I had a meltdown
Yeah.
because I couldn't do it. Like I just never know. Like
Totally.
I didn't do Suzuki um, proper. I didn't do Suzuki training proper as a
Yeah.
kid, so I didn't get the ear training aspect of anything, and I was a disaster.
Oh
But I
man.
can tell you that after years of doing it, I'm much better at it. So it
Yeah.
is something you can learn for sure.
It was no, it was 100% the same for me. It
Mhm,
would be debilitating if
mhm,
somebody said, "Play this back to me," and they just played four notes. And I've been playing cello for 10 years, and someone says, "Play these four notes back to me." What were they again? Which note? Can you just tell me which notes to play? Because then I can
mhm.
do it, no
Yeah.
problem. But
I-
there's this, I mean, it's visual, right? But Suzuki does a great job. I don't know if I did it right either, but I found the same thing. It was really hard to transition into not learning visually.
mm,
Really difficult.
yeah, it's super hard.
Yeah.
Um, well, I want you to play one more thing for us, but yeah, let's just do that, and then we'll have a little conclusion part of the
Great.
essay.
Great.
What are you gonna play now?
Um can I So the last time we did Four Fiddle Friday, I was telling you that I was working on playing a Tool riff um with my new chopping technique, and I don't think it came through very well,
No,
and
because it
I've
was
been
Instagram.
because it was Instagram, and I've been working on it. So I'd love to play this new chopping pattern, but
Yes, please.
why don't you say something, because I have to put my cello into drop D.
Okay. Well, here we are, and I wasn't prepared for this, but
Come on, you can do it, Caitlin.
um, go listen to Eric's music. Eric is actually, yeah, he's a very talented man, and he's,
Oh, go
uh,
on.
he. Okay, are you done?
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, go check him out on all like the social medias. Eric Wright Sound on Instagram. Eric Wright Sound everywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, he was you can go on to Spotify or wherever you listen to music and hear the remix he did for my tune Nature Nurture. That
Oh
was
yeah.
super boss, just like real chill. Just it feels good.
Very chill.
Yeah.
I like the slow jams.
I love
Yeah.
a slow jam. So yeah, that did I do a good job?
You did a great job. I would also say that Caitlin and I just started working together a little bit, and Caitlin is making some electronic slash cello music with beats and little synthy things, and it's sounding really stellar.
Thanks,
I,
man.
I, I didn't know what to expect, of course, when you first sent it to me, but when you sent it to me and I got it all in and pressed play, I was like, oh, this is going to be easy,
Okay, good.
which
I'm
is
glad.
a good thing. Yeah.
That means a lot coming from you.
Ah, thanks. Uh,
So we're gonna hear some Tool beats.
so this is Tool Beats. And uh, anyone who's ever had a lesson with me has heard me talk about Tool ad nauseum. Uh, and this goes along very well with what we were saying about being melting pots, you know,
Mm,
and being inspired by all these things. I started listening to Tool when I was 13 years old. My girlfriend's brother told me to listen to Tool, and I wanted to be cool.
yeah.
Um, that rhymed, luckily. Uh, and what I know, of course, I was like, "Oh, great! Here I go, listening to metal music. I'm gonna be one of those kids." And then listening to Tool just completely expanded my mind on metrics, on how you can count things, how nine can be groovy, how you can go back and forth between playing in five and playing in six,
Mm,
and still make it flow really well. And so this is a tune, and it inspired some new techniques out of me because you play in nine and then eight and then seven. Um,
whew.
so it's 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. So like you start over at the 1 2 3 at the end there, and so it feels almost Middle Eastern inspired in the way that you're
Mm,
counting it, because they're very good at jumping between different time signatures and having those grooves. But I really wanted to be able to chop on strong beats, but you have to be able to play notes on strong beats. So that inspired me to start doing the left hand raking
yeah.
pizzicato at the same time as the chops, which other people have done before. But it was new for me. So just to
Yeah.
add another little thing to the arsenal was fun.
Okay, I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Here it is. Just a little lick. A D A D.
What? Hey, that was I was like maybe I'll try to count along and then I abandoned that
Yeah.
really quickly. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a ridiculous count. And then the singer starts singing in the Fibonacci sequence.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So it gets even more confusing and super tangly.
Wow.
So I'm trying to figure out um, ways to incorporate that in 6/8 timing, and it's working really well in 6/8 timing to do open.
The left hand raking, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, the
It
left
sounds
hand
so
raking.
good. I've
It
never
feels
tried
great.
that.
I recommend it, and it's easy too because it just comes at the same time as a chop,
Right.
like, or a little bit before.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
highly
add it to
recommend
the
it.
list. Add it to
Add
the
it to the
list.
list. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
We as our rhythmist cellists we are the explorers,
Hmm.
and there is no map or anything, so it's happy accidents and inspiration from other places is how we're going to push it all forward. So if
Totally.
anyone else has any crazy ideas for what to do on a cello, send them my way.
Yeah, if anyone will be able to figure out how to make it work, it's Eric Wright.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
I believe it. Um, I just wanted to ask if you had anything you have coming up that you wanted to plug and mention. That Speaker Face has been doing stuff? Question
Yeah,
mark.
Speaker Face was just nominated for a Canadian Folk Music Award, along
Congratulations.
with your husband was nominated for a Canadian
Yes.
Folk Music Award as well, and we were nominated for Pushing the Boundaries,
Mhm.
and that's Trent playing violin and keys,
Trent
and then
Freeman,
Trent Freeman
for everyone
from the
who doesn't know.
Fretless,
Yeah.
and I'm making beats and bass lines for that, so no cello involved, and yeah, we're really excited. We have vinyl out. It looks beautiful. Check it out at speakerface or speaker-face.com. Very important.
Face.
And yeah, the Fretless just released our new album, Collaboration All Singers. It was October 22nd. You can get it on all of your streaming platforms, or you could buy it if you want.
It sounds so great. I was listening. I like to put it on in the car and drive to it, and it's just so great.
It's great car music.
Yeah. Well, Eric, that's so great. Everything you're doing is, and I'm ready for that solo Eric Wright album, just with like you, just like layered.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah.
2031.
2031.
Yeah.
It's a good goal. It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say goodbye to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thanks, everyone. Play less Chopin, do more chopping.
Yes.
Yeah.
What were you saying about, what was your saying?
Oh, once you
chop, you can't stop.
stop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.